Hey there, hope you're doing well. Welcome to Snowpal Software Development and Architecture podcast. In today's podcast, we're going to pick up from where we left off with in the Salesforce series. Let me actually share my screen so we can take a look at this together. Let me share my entire desktop here. Okay. Um, so if we go to say Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and if I scroll a bit down, we have there is like seven of these this in the Salesforce series. We looked at the Anypoint Platforms Design Center, the Code Builder IDE. We dug deeper into those in the first two or three podcasts. Then we looked at what else do we look at here? We looked at Anypoint Data Graph. Essentially, we looked at all of the Anypoint platforms here. So if we go to Salesforce and go to MuleSoft, we looked at most of these items. I mean, we didn't go to robotic process automation, but we looked at the integration and API management in totality, if I'm not wrong, and maybe the no code integration and automation as well. Um, maybe not. I'm not sure because MuleSoft Composer doesn't ring a bell. So it's something we may have to revisit, but we did look at the all the other items actually in that list. And then we looked at data graph. We also looked at the API manager, API governance, and runtime manager, right? So we have six of them. We dug, we scratched the surface, but we went to some level of detail, did a number of hands-on exercises and things of the nature. So definitely check that out. You don't have to do that before you watch the seventh episode in that series, but it'll actually it cannot hurt and be helpful if you got context to some of those conversations, if you will. So in this one, I was trying to see what we should take a look at. I didn't spend much time before the call. I just looked to see what might be the next one to pick. It was pretty much random. Service caught my was it service or sales actually caught my attention. So I went to the sales solutions to look at the Salesforce sales related products, and I was like, you know what, let's check this out. Don't know if we can check and how this works. I'm just gonna before I picked one or the other, I want to sign up for a free service. So I just hit try for free. Typically, I would do this during the call as well, but the last time we noticed some of these actually take a few minutes to get provisioned, and the confirmation email takes a few minutes as well. So the only thing I did before I hit record was do that, and it took a little more over 5 minutes for that email to come through. I click confirm account, and my account's now set up and good to go. That's all I've done. What it did was it sent me an email with this URL, a domain, sort of a custom subdomain, and then generated a username based on the email address I used. I updated my password, and that's pretty much all that I've done. Let me log in here. Okay, this is literally my first look at Salesforce as a platform, as the dashboard. I mean, we did look at the Anypoint platform, which I believe MuleSoft is part of MuleSoft, a company that Salesforce, I presume, acquired some time ago. But outside of that, this is my first foray into Salesforce as a platform, as a tool. So we are just going to be looking at this together. Okay, now that we've logged in, it tells me that we've got 30 days left in the trial because I just signed up a few minutes ago. If I hit buy now, at some point we will explore this. There's a startup plan for $300 a year, and then there's a pro suite. Let's see what this has. And again, I'm literally reading this as we're going here. So you start fast with marketing, sales, commerce, and service tools. With Starter, you get sales opportunity tracking, marketing segmentation and campaigns, customer service case management, pre-built dashboards and reports, sales opportunity tracking. It sounds a little bit. I mean, at Snowpal, we use a number of tools for sales. One of the tools we use is Apollo.io. It's a sales automation platform, which is meant exclusively for sales, for prospecting, where you create an ideal customer profile, you create a customer personas, uh, create different sequences, define your sequence steps. I think I alluded to that in one of the other podcasts. Not sure which one. Probably one of the six podcasts in the Salesforce series, most likely. sequences, sequence steps, rule sets, everything that goes with a typical say automation, sales automation platform. I didn't think Salesforce had anything to do with sales automation, because at least when you Google and find those other tools, they always say how they are different from Salesforce, and this is one of the things that it actually rings a bell to me. But I thought it called out for it being different. Maybe Salesforce didn't start out there, because this is different from CRM and customer relationship management, right? But maybe they have some support for sales tracking. Perhaps that's what it sounds like to me, but we'll check it out. The Pro has everything in startup plus custom apps and objects, personalized navigation layouts, workflows automation, integration capabilities, marketing campaigns, in-app and web messaging, and testing and training environment. You're going to have to possibly come on a 30-day trial. I'm not sure if the 30-day trial is for the startup plan. Oh yeah, it's for the startup plans he's currently using. So we wouldn't, unless we paid for it, we wouldn't know what these are, what they bring to the table. I wish they had like a free trial, even if not for the whole month, at least for a couple of days on the Pro Suite, but that's all right. Okay, and then let's go click the avatar. Display density. It's probably um, UI changes. I mean, I'm not necessarily noticing any changes there, but it's maybe try to make it compact. Looks pretty identical, at least at this point. Maybe there would be some differences there. Adding a username. Oh, it actually kicked me out. I wonder if this is to update the username, because the username was generated. If you had to update it, why does it have to kick me out? And it's unexpected. So that's unusual. Okay, it's like a bit of an odd experience. Let's go to settings. Okay, it's got first looks like this doesn't look like the most current UI. So perhaps, I'm just going to share my experience as I go. I know Salesforce obviously has been around for a long time, even if I have actually not used it, other than some integration work that I've done a little while ago. Like I mentioned in the previous podcast, I haven't done a whole lot of work, not much at all when it comes to Salesforce. Um, I mean, I'm all right with these low code, no code platforms. I do use them. We do use them at Snowpal, but only when it actually adds significant value. Given the fact that we are a team that comprises engineers, it's actually faster for us to, in many cases, write the code than rely on these no code, low code platforms, because sometimes, not all the time, sometimes you have to spend time learning the platform and sort of making it work to your needs. And if being no code, low code is the top of your list, then that might make sense. But for us, we want to get things done as quickly as possible and want it to be as flexible as possible. So more often than not, just building it ourselves seems to be the solution. I'm not saying we reinvent the wheel. We never do that, because that's our whole pitch as well, right? If you shouldn't actually reinvent the wheel when you're building mobile apps, web apps, or microservices. You want to rely on other platforms and tools to expedite you, reduce your time to market. Our APIs are exactly meant for that. If you find yourself building, managing, maintaining, deploying, scaling, and extending server-side systems when you feel like you shouldn't have to, then it's likely that you shouldn't have to, and you should actually piggyback on our APIs and SaaS products to make your teams more efficient and be more cost productive, right? Go check out saas.snowball.com, and you can take a look at all those APIs and thousands of endpoints. So we do like the low code, no code platforms because we provide that to other businesses as well. But with that said, there are some that are better than others. So you want to just make sure the ones you're using will truly save you time and money, not just in the short term, but in the midterm and the long term as well. Okay, so this page is pretty straightforward. The first look is certainly, I reckon this was not built in the last couple of years, right? This UI has been around forever. It looks quite dated to me. But it's all right. Go to advanced user details. There is a lot of configuration here. I don't obviously know what all these are. Debug mode. Can I enable it? Enable debug mode to make it easier to debug JavaScript code from Lightning Components. Only enable debug mode for users who are actively debugging JavaScript. It's slower otherwise. I don't know why it doesn't let me enable it. And what is a Lightning component? Lightning component library, Lightning web components. Okay, so this looks like a design system to me. Um, so the first learning, probably Lightning has a bunch of UI components that you can leverage. So you probably have used other design systems like, Material UI, is one of my favorites. This looks like there is a design system that's native to Salesforce. And what is the Aura namespace? Salesforce Aura component. Aura components are self-contained reusable units of an app. They represent a reusable section of the UI. Okay, we know that. Components that come with the are available in the Lightning namespace. Base Lightning components. All right. Use Lightning instead of Aura. Lightning Web. So there are two different components. Lightning Web components perform better and easier to develop than Aura. When you develop Lightning Web components, you may also need to use Aura because LWC doesn't yet support everything that Aura does. So maybe Aura was what used to be there in the past, and maybe Lightning is the newer version of it, is what I'm trying to read this as. I suspect that's what it is. Based on that, it says Lightning is better than Aura component, so maybe you don't need to use it if you don't have to use it. So this one actually has a Lightning wrapper an Aura wrapper to a Lightning component. I don't know enough, but to me it looks like a migration path, perhaps. Perhaps the Aura namespace is still around because it's not been replaced with Lightning. I'm speculating, so folks have used this, certainly comment and correct me. Incorrect us, I should say. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me, right? There is this component here. So if you used, other design systems, if you're using React and other web, MVVM-ish frameworks, single page app frameworks, you're familiar with this construct. So there is a bunch of these components. Now, my first question is: are these components particular? I mean, they are obviously Salesforce components. I've never used them. I wonder if they're also available to be used outside of Salesforce, and if so, why you might. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe they are rich enough, or maybe they are richer. But having used a fair number of design systems, if I had to be judgmental with nothing to back those judgments, mostly a hunch, I reckon that when you're using Salesforce, doing activities on the Salesforce platform, probably you use. Let me make sure I'm recording. Yep. You probably use the Lightning components, and if you're, not building any, something on Salesforce, probably you're going to use whatever it is that you're using. Maybe it's, material, maybe something else that you're it's pretty powerful and maybe you're comfortable with. And the other question I had was, maybe I said it. Can I use the material components on Salesforce? Use material design system on Salesforce. Okay, there should be no issues in using material design for Lightning components. If that is the case, is there a reason why I should be using Lightning components? I'm just curious to know when I would choose one versus the other. Material design versus Lightning design system on Salesforce. It says material seems to be a lot more popular. I'm pretty sure it is. While we know about 75 links. Two mentions. I'm not surprised. Like I mentioned, I've used Material UI all the time. Never heard of Lightning. It's because I don't do Salesforce. I haven't done much Salesforce work. So I think it's until we find out otherwise, it's safe to assume that if you're on Salesforce, you might want to use Lightning. Or maybe there is innate support for it, so you could possibly use other design systems. But maybe, it's like if you're a Rails developer, you probably understand this. Not that other languages and frameworks are not opinionated, but Rails is constantly thrown under the bus for reasons I don't necessarily understand, as being singularly more opinionated than other languages. I think a lot of them are in their own ways. So you could do things. If you're a Rails developer, you could do things differently. Uh, uh, I see something flashing, so I'm a little bit worried that the record. Okay, they're still recording. Yeah. You could go outside the Rails conventions, but it's not recommended because it's just going to make your life more difficult and doesn't provide that much value. This could be along those lines. Again, speculation, pure speculation. So maybe using the Lightning design system might make you a faster developer on Salesforce platform than if you weren't using that. So it seems like it has accordions, the usual suspects that you would expect: breadcrumbs, button groups. Let's see, button group. What does the component look like? Okay, all of them have the Aura component as a wrapper and then Lightning on the inside. Okay, there's some Aura as well. So maybe there's some porting that needs to happen here, but there's a fair number of these components, right? And it seems fairly well documented. There's a Lightning console. Okay, it's and then the starting code running, blah blah blah. Lightning Web Security Console. Learn more. Is it something? It's yeah. I have no idea what this. Oh, that it's for Lightning, and this is for Aura. Lightning enabled or disabled. So there is a convenient console. I'm wondering what kind of code that you actually run here. Um, it says evaluating the. It's a web security. Is it just evaluating security aspects slash vulnerability type of items, or is it actually like a playground for you to run things here? You can evaluate the table on the right side, shows the code execution fails and why. You know what? Let's try something. If you're wondering why we're not spending time reading documentation, like going through a traditional book where we're flipping through pages, that's not how we actually learn and come on, move things along at Snowpal. We're very nimble and agile. We just, throw ourselves into the fire. If you've seen the previous podcast, you probably know it. If not, you'll get used to it, I promise. Let's just see if there's a component and there's a controller code here. If I copy that, I'm trying to see where I was with the console. Let me go here. I don't expect for this to evaluate this. I was just trying to see if I can drop a component, make some changes to it, and have that be reflected in the evaluation. Maybe that's not the purpose of this console. We shall see. Developer guide. Okay, getting started with these components. Now you can definitely go read this documentation, or we can skip it. Okay, there's something called an LWC Studio. Okay, collections, new. Okay, so this actually is integrated, the Lightning Studio. Let's copy a component. I guess they have something here. Let's copy a hello. Do I need to? Oh, I guess I have to save it for it to, maybe not. Okay, it does pick this change up. Let's see what it says here. I created a hello world. I just updated the child HTML. Yep, I see this take effect, right? So if you notice here, so I guess it just doesn't have the name. The first name is not substituted. Okay, let's go here. Okay, create a file and name it hello world.js. Again, we are just jumping gears, trying to understand Lightning Web Components. We started with the Salesforce. Just recap, we saw that there was something called Lightning. I had no idea what Lightning was. I searched, found that there is a design system called Lightning. We talked about it. We looked at some of the components that it provides, compared that to Material UI, got some understanding about this component, these components, and came to the conclusion, right or wrong, came to the conclusion that this is a design system that probably is meant to be used when you're building apps on the Salesforce platform. And I was presumptuous, without any backing or proof, that this might probably work a bit more seamlessly than using other components, other design systems like Material UI. Uh, maybe not, but again, it seems like a natural ground for us to explore. So we looked at a component and we want to try and see how we can actually test these components in isolation before we incorporate them into our apps and code bases. Google stumbled into the developer guide, and then we learned that there is a design studio, LWC Lightning. What is it? Lightning Web Component Studio, I guess. And we launched the studio, and we're trying to make some changes. Now I want to see this. Welcome to Lightning Web Components is probably coming from here. Right, yeah, exactly. Yep, this seems like a landing page, and then it probably somewhere here. We have the child HTML template, and I reckon in app HTML we have a reference to the template somewhere here. It says template for each features. Let's see where in that. So the file is called child.html, and this is child. Let's say if I delete this, probably that whole thing goes, and then you have to click. Yeah, that's what I suspected. Okay, now you have a landing page, and then within the template, you have something called c-child. My first thought is, how does it, and again, you have to save, otherwise it doesn't take effect here. I'm on my laptop, so this window is pretty narrow. My apologies. On the studio, it probably is going to be bigger. Let's actually maybe just change it a little bit in this, just so we know, in this interactive editor. Maybe we'll get rid of these links at the bottom. Okay. So it prints it 3 times over. So maybe there are 3. It's for each features, and it's printing it 3 times, as we can see here, because we just have a single hello. Why is it looping through 3 times? Maybe the 3 features. Sure enough, there are 3 features, right? This is a it's essentially returning an array of 3 features. So it's returning, what is it? Label and icon. Learn in the browser, view changes, style your components, and it's a label. So if I remove this, I reckon we're gonna see that hello print be printed twice, right? Yep. Okay. So now let's go look at these items. It goes to HTML. Sorry, let's go to. This is pretty narrow. Okay. Let's see if I can make this. I guess I cannot make that one narrow. So it goes through the features. It's printing feature.label. Let's see. Feature.label. Lightning icon, feature.icon. Oh, you know what? When we came here, we changed this. My bad. You know what? It looked like. Yep. Okay. I just threw the code in there from what we copied. Okay. Now there is a template here. What does it do? It's got a div. It's actually printing the label, and the label is essentially coming from here, right? So if I do learn in the browser, it's going to change it. And then if I change this label to labels, obviously it's not going to print that because it doesn't find the label, right? So that's where it's coming from. We saw, okay, here is a template. So pretty standard stuff, right? You have a template and you have these variable substitutions, and then it's coming from there, the label. But I want to go back here and understand C dash child. Let's see. LWC C dash child. Call methods on children. I'm just trying to see. I'm just looking for documentation for that child. See to do. I'm just curious to know whether this name. Let's say I'm gonna call it my child. Okay. It says could not load imported by app HTML. Where is this importing child? C dash my dash child. There you go. Oh yeah. Oh nope. Second argument. We got a different error this time. Let's see. We were like this. Second argument must be a. Let's go back to child. Oh. We put everything back where it belonged. This doesn't make sense. Asset violation. Second argument, CTOR must be a function. That doesn't look right to me. Because we modified this and we didn't change anything else. We put this right back. Why is it not happy? Did the refactor? I didn't refactor anything else. This is not the only way to learn, but this is a way to learn. This is pretty much how we do it at Snowpal, and I can tell you it works. I don't know if it'll work for everybody. It works for us because this is how we churn out a lot of code. We do a lot of learning in actually pretty quick time. Because otherwise, if you go through every aspect of documentation or buy a book, I'm pretty sure this book's not saying don't do it. There's many ways to skin the cat. First, we found that it takes a lot longer than we want for it to take, and we kind of enjoy the way we explore and discover. I'm doing it right here. And trust me, you're going to discover things that you wouldn't otherwise have discovered, at least this quickly. Yeah. Now, this doesn't look right to me. Let's refresh this. Okay. All that I did was refresh and it's back to where it was before and it's working. I'm just curious to know this. Let's see how much. Let's see if I do C dash. I'm trying to understand. Okay, let's go back here. Create a file called hello world, copy this into the editor. Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what I thought for some reason. That's coming from the file name. So it's C dash and then it's the file name. That's what I suspected, which is why after we change this, okay, so it's failing now. It says import fails, could not load it. And now I go, wonder, okay, now let's change this one too. And then let's go here. Let's call it my child. Nope, it does not work. And now we change it because going by what we're reading here, looks like it should. Am I making some silly mistake here? Child. Yeah, there is no other reference to child. Hmm, maybe that has no bearing on. Okay, now I will do what we did earlier. Still complains. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, I'm going to refresh the page again, get it back to a point where it's going to work. Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, hang on, I'm supposed to remove this also. Okay, let's actually do one thing. Let's duplicate this. Let's call it my child. Okay, yep. So it's my child. Let's keep everything else just the same. And then we go, so we have a mile and then child.html. Let's duplicate this, rename it to my child.html. And then I'm going to see. So, okay, clearly we're missing something here. We'll try to figure out what that is. Create element, CApp. We have my child and we have same template. This is pretty much defaults returning the data. Get features. Definition. I want to find all usages of it because when you go here, this is where it's getting the features. It's making the call, and for each feature, it's printing out the label, and then it's printing out the icon. And as we see here, these are probably default icons that are available. Utility.edit. Maybe let's do view. I guess there isn't one called view. Let's say Salesforce utility icons. It's part of this design system. Let's say we say alert, right? There's something called alert. But we change this to alert. There you go. Okay, so it's coming from the design system, but I'm still want to at least explore to see why it's not picking. For each template features, you want to build this child. Okay, that builds it 2 times. So let's see their example with the hello world. What is the name of the I'm pretty sure there's some convention playing a role here. Oh, it's hello world.ws. It's actually the camel case. Maybe the case sensitivity could be a problem. Oops. My child. When an unsupported component is encountered. So clearly there is an unsupported component. Okay, maybe we can read this a bit more. Okay, let's copy and create a hello world actually. Let's see what we're doing differently. Okay, and then I'm going to also create hello world.html. VS Code is great, but just doing it embedded on the browser is painful. I'm just doing it for the podcast purposes. Otherwise, I'll just definitely run it, run a native client. Yeah, okay, we did that as well. Now let's say we go here to app.html. I'm going to remove this. So it's okay. Now let's go back here. Let's copy the whole div and then go to there's no error, but that didn't do anything. Why? So what are we expecting to see here? World. Hang on, what is our JavaScript code looking like? First name is world. This is printing hello and the first name. So I would have expected it to print, and I think when we saw earlier, it actually did. What's different? Let me take it out of here. Child.html. Hello world.html. That looks quite alright. So I'm trying to think why this actually does not print it. What is the problem here? Hello world. Missing key inside. Okay, let me delete this. It says missing key for element inside of iterator. So we are iterating. Do I need to use, let's see, the key here. Yeah, it looks like I had to use, even though it's irrelevant to that, I had to use that key because I was in the iterator. Now that's a different problem. So let's get out of the iterator. Maybe, what is our example here? It doesn't print anything. Yeah, so goes to hello world. First name is set to world and hello world HTML. This is wrapped in a template. Okay, let's take this div. No, this shouldn't make any difference. I'm just wondering what. Let me think. Is there any other reference? Now your component is reusable. For example, you can add multiple components and set each to a different value. unknown property, first name of element. So we were not passing first name before. Trying to think whether this should, that's first name from hello world, but it says unknown public property first name of element. This is likely a typo on the corresponding attribute. Let's see what typo could we possibly have. We copied it from here, guessing that case transformation happens. Add a public property to the C hello world component. Which one did we copy here? Oh, there we go. So it was not public earlier. I guess the API import okay makes it public, but if it were not, I guess it's just private within this class, I presume. So we have hello web. Let's go back here. First name is Krish. Okay, so we added a new component, a very simple one, hello world literally. So we added it to app.html. We added the hello world JavaScript. We didn't have it. I mean, I guess we need to do the import to make it, public. HTML. Okay, let me just remove one bang here. This is where the substitution happens. And then end, yep, I was just trying to see what else okay, and we changed this. What have we done so far? We took the example, this forms the structure, and we followed these conventions. The dash child, I don't know why the dash hello world or the my child did not. Okay, actually not. We still have it. Actually, I forgot that we have it. Why is my child not working? New label. Okay, let's try to. I want to get that working actually. So okay, now it'll work. It's going to be redundant. They're going to make it my dash child. My dash child, and it's going to complain. It did not complain. Am I missing something? Okay, let's go to my child HTML. I guess we're going to print a label, but we'll do something before and after the label. It actually did work this time. You see the parentheses here? That's interesting. No, I can't think we did anything differently. Put it in the exact same place within the template, iterated through the features. This is a bit strange that it did not work earlier. I guess show features is set to true, and if you notice here, we check to see if show features is true or not. That's a variable, and then this features is get the features method. Essentially, that's this method. So we change this to new features and save it. It's going to fail. It doesn't find it. All that we'll have to do is go back here, change this to new features, and it should now be back. Yep. So it does work as expected. I don't know why it wasn't working earlier. So what we've done here is took an example, gotten our kind of feet wet with some of these Lightning templates, if you will. Let's take a random component just to bring a bit more complexity into the mix. So this is an aura component, and then actually let's pick maybe a button. Let's see, an accordion. I'm just trying to pick one that doesn't have too much code. Actually, maybe a card. Yeah, okay. So we have an aura component. If I took this, maybe I'll add it. Yeah, so this, you don't stick these actual components in here. Let's see where, just trying to see what syntactically, let's go to hello world or child HTML. Okay, you need to make it part of the HTML, so that's not the right place to place these components. So I'm trying to see, let's go here, go look at their example. So here's a child component that we added in app HTML, and then we reference a child component this way. And we are copying this code, the Lightning code from here. So there is, I'm trying to compare this to the React world of doing things. So we have this component, footer is a card footer or a component in an HTML page. So I'm trying to see where to insert that component. So right now the default here has we used a child component, and the child component, the HTML was defined here. It was within the template, and then it has a div, it has a span, and the usual HTML tags. Now we want to drop actually a Lightning component, a card such as this here. Where should it go? Data binding, renderless. Okay, this is a Lightning card. Right, so what we had here, not here, sorry. We take a Lightning card, but there is no aura component wrapper. I'm not sure when you use that wrapper. Let's see, take this. What is the difference here? You have the Lightning card. Oh, wait, hang on. This is the XML-ish version. Let's see. This should work. That's what I can tell. Yeah, there we've added that component, right? This is more a very typical JSX or a TSX fashion in React essentially, right? So I mean React TSX example, for instance. So if you're a React developer, it's probably straightforward. That I'm just referring to the JSX and the TXX. Where is the very straightforward example? Yeah, I mean this is not the greatest of example. Okay, TypeScript React components. Yep, something like this, right? I was just trying to find a reference. So this is very similar usage to the TXX files, right? It's TSX files. There is, this is a my button React a component, for instance. So that's how this is written. Trying to think what this example, where this is coming from. Why is the component reference using a colon in these examples, like an XML namespace and attributes? Perhaps there's multiple ways of doing this. I don't know, but as I suspected, that is the difference. Oh, wait, did I not remove this? Yeah. So let's delete this. So there is that card, right? There is a lightning card component that's being added. Now it doesn't print the contacts because we don't have contacts. But if you took contacts, actually let's just copy the contacts. This is not defined as a function, so let's go here. Okay, so this is the difference here is this is just defined as a variable. Okay, let me go here. Okay, we have contacts. This is an app.js, so we go to not my child. Okay. Okay, hello for each contacts. I want to print the contact name and title. This is coming. We added it here. Except that it's coming from a different component. So maybe we'll go to title as hello for each, but we don't have okay. Needs to read the. I'm trying to wire this in. Let's just do this one last thing, and at least we feel like we would have gotten a feel for this. It needs to read the contacts. That's right, as a get. Okay, get new features. So we started here. For each new features, we say feature go through this and iterate past the feature.label and so on and so forth. For trying to see where, since these names are all examples, it's hard to remember. This is in the child. So when you pass to the child, we are not passing this label. Yeah, we are facing the label prop here. We're not passing that. So let's say, I'm trying to see what the best way to pass this would be. In this example here, they actually, in their HTML, they get loop through the contacts and print it. But I actually want to make it part of this. So I have a child, I'm passing the key and the label. Okay, elements must have a unique computed key. Feature icon. For each features, I don't want to add it to features. I can obviously add, these attributes to features and fetch off of there, but I'm just trying to add it as a new method altogether. So I want to get the contacts while I'm in. For each contacts, how do I guess I need to pass contacts down here, otherwise it's not going to find it. So to child dot html, because if you see here, label is defined but not contacts. I took contacts from there. Yep, there we go, right? So we added the contacts to the actual component, and then we're now in our child HTML iterating through the contacts, getting the name, and now we can define this here. It's just declared as a variable that's initialized, an array variable that's initialized with these three. But you can imagine that you could do that as a function, something more dynamic that's fetching data from the backend and so on and so forth. So it's three times because we just plugged it into this iterator, new features. And we could have another, we could have created a different template and add a different iterator. So you can style this and have the data. This is again, garbage data, right? We're just trying to understand how the wiring of these Salesforce Lightning components works in the context of, what we were looking at essentially. So these are, again, if we were to use Material UI, then you'd use you'd reference those components and add those dependencies. In here, so npx, blah, blah, blah. There's a LWC config JSON file, directory is source, and it says Lightning base components. It says like 205 downloads. I cannot be that few, can it? Yeah, this looks like what we're looking at. That's an awfully low number of downloads. So not sure. Maybe it's new. Okay, so that's what we've used. If you're using different modules and you're going to import, include Material UI and essentially go with that. So this is us building something. So now once this is done, the next question I would have, the natural question is, where did we start from? I'm trying to think. I actually don't remember where. Okay, so we have these. I'm trying to think where we came from. We created this project. I mean, so we got a feel for, Salesforce's, the Lightning. I guess we came from the Lightning company. Yeah, this is probably where I'm just trying. Yep. So we go to this and we checked out, right? This goes through the examples of creating a Lightning web component using the third-party IDE, which is basically VS Code, at LWC Studio. And once all of this is done, I just want to see how this gets wired into, that is setting up your development environment, develop with Salesforce tools. This document, I don't know, I wish this footer were not there. This is too much, this is very noisy, this page. First of all, this is very distracting because when you hover over by mistake, it keeps popping that the menu drop down, and then there is this footer that shows up too early. This page could clearly be designed, a whole lot better than it is right now. Okay. Okay, there's a Salesforce. Okay, there's Salesforce CLI. Hello world in a Scratch organization. Best practices creating custom components. Use components in Salesforce targets. Debug. Pro. I'm just trying to see. Now that we built this app, I want to see how do we drop something like this into a. Uh, is the idea here to build this? I mean, it couldn't be to build this independently outside, because this in all that we've done here, we've used a Lightning component and written pretty standard, JavaScript code. Uh, you can do this in React in lesser time as well, right? So, but this has to natively, I'm presuming, package and be dropped into Salesforce somewhere. That's what I'm trying to get to. Lightning pages. Actually, I don't want to lose context to where we are at here. Let me go back. Okay, creating a first component. Please go away. Stack Blitz in LWC Studio are third-party products and subject to their own terms and conditions. Okay. What is the next page that comes after this? I feel like I'm jumping out of defining a component folder, data binding, third-party components. Use components outside Salesforce. Whether it's a node app running on Heroku or department server, add your Lightning components to standalone Aura dependency app, then run them wherever users are. Okay, but I'm Lightning Experience Salesforce mobile app. What is Lightning Experience? I think the Salesforce pages are, in my opinion, poorly organized. Okay. Lightning is the future of the platform and empowers the customers to move faster. Lightning Experience features list. So maybe this is new. Maybe Lightning Experience is the new experience. It's like a million tabs that open. Okay. While it's spinning. I reckon no is the answer. Yep, that's what I thought. More productive way for everyone to work. Okay. Exclusive features. Yeah, see, if you could read documentation, I mean, you're welcome to read if that's the kind of person who enjoys that. Yeah, imagine getting started with solving a problem like building Hello World and you have to read through a gazillion pages. Not the way how we do things there. Okay, so Lightning, where did we come from? New Salesforce with a modern user interface and new features. Maybe this whole thing we're looking at that looks pretty dated. Maybe this goes away. I'm not sure. But let's go back here. I'm curious to know, after we build this, how do we drop it here? We view components and setup. Set up your development environment. Wow, there are like so many tabs. Okay, install development tools. Salesforce CLI. What is trail? Have to sign up again. Okay, I don't want any of that. Yeah, create a Lightning Web component, something like what we did, and deploy it in your organization. What is Open VS Code, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, I guess we have to sign up. Okay, Trailhead. Know what Trailhead is? Let's see. Trailhead. I guess this is a learning platform for Salesforce. That's what it looks like to me. Yep. Okay, but I guess that goes to their own pages. Okay. I just want to see after you do all of this, let's say we built everything, deploy. Salesforce project deploy. Haha, we have to install the Salesforce CLI install on macOS. Download the package, Apple Silicon. Maybe that doesn't take too long. And I've not been doing a lot of talking here, but hopefully, we've gone through the exercise of installed it. What do we do after that? Okay, there we go. We have the Salesforce command line here. Now, let's see, Salesforce is it version? Yep, I have to say probably on the latest version. We just installed it. Okay, Salesforce config manage records. For let's see what we can do here. I think that was a new tab, so I'm going to close that one. Go back to where we were at. Project deploy start. So let's see, can I open? How do I open a terminal? This looks like a restricted interface. The LWC Studio. Okay. I'm trying to see. Great. I mean, we have, let's see, we have an app, but we just use the browser-based studio to actually create the basic example that we created. It seems very restrictive. It doesn't give the terminal, right? It's quite intentional, I have to assume. So let's see, LWC Studio terminal. To deploy the LWC component to use it in your org, you can simply right click and select deploy to source. Yeah, this seems like an extremely restrictive view. To collapse. I have a limited. Wondering whether I have a limited version, not the complete version. Yeah, this one certainly. Yeah, this just says open standard Visual VS Code to do it. But we are not on that. Let's see, let's just look at some of the commands that they are running here. STFX, do I have this one as well? Oh, I do. Or maybe it's an alias. Looks like the exact same thing that's returning. Yeah. Yeah, so if we created it in a more standardized manner, we would have possibly seen options to doing it. Except with this, I can't even pull this branch down here. So maybe I'm not sure how the studio is meant to work. Maybe you need to upgrade to a pro version for it to actually support those types of things. Unlimited usage. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, let's actually. I'm going to try running one of these commands. Salesforce CLI examples. Okay, I guess SFDX is deprecated and new. That's why it returned. Maybe it's still around for a little bit. Okay. Okay, these are all the commands, the Salesforce commands. Before I go there, there are some examples. Create how many scratch? What is a scratch org? So source-driven and disposable deployment of Salesforce code and metadata. A scratch org is fully configurable, allowing developers to emulate different Salesforce editions. You can share the scratch org with other team members. When you want to start a new project, new feature branch. Okay. Disposable deployment of code and metadata. My first question is why is it not an org? But maybe there is a reason. Okay. So if we ran like a random command here, Anypoint Salesforce. Should we call it? I don't know. Examples. I guess there needs to be some definition file. Okay, created the file. No default dev hub on set default. GeoApps. Maybe there's some other setup we might need to do. Let's see, geolocation. Okay, create a project. Oh, to dash V. Specify an environment. Maybe there is something else we need to do before we do this. App development. Oh, there is an org login. What the username that they had sent. Was that at force.com? Okay. Okay, there we've logged in to our default org. It looks like that's our ID. Now if we create, oops, no default dev hub found. So maybe we need to create a default dev hub. One more time, you have to log in. Okay, so we said org login, set default dev hub, alias dev hub. Okay, now let's say we do the same, create specified org dev hub is not a dev hub. Set this org as a default dev hub. And then open the dev hub. That's our org, default dev hub. That is the default. So why is this create scratch? Wait, let's see. What did we put in the config file? Addition. Yeah, that's nothing to do with the specified org is not a dev hub. We need to grant extra licenses to access them. That doesn't. We've done everything I believe we were supposed to. But it is a dev because we run the SF org list and it says it's connected and it's target org dev hub. Let's see the list of commands. Oops. And here, created a org from scratch. Create a scratch org, sorry. We generated a project called a geolocation. Then we did a org login web. We logged in. The command we are trying to run now. Oops. Org create. So if I don't provide, let's see if we missed a step. I don't think we missed a step, but I don't know. Specifying flag sets as org as a default dev hub, use the alias blah blah blah. Only indicate the flag for your dev hub. Use it with different org. You can create scratch orgs only as you've correctly configured. Correctly identify the using the config set command. Only indicate the flag for your dev hub. That's what we did. What if I provide a different name? Okay, and now I'm going to do list orgs. Yeah, I changed the alias because I updated it to maybe the type is empty. Let me just call it. It just keeps bringing me back here. We've made some progress with the command line. Remember, at the top of this podcast, we didn't know any of this, so we've made some progress. How far are we into this? Close to. Let's wrap this up a little bit in a little bit here. So I'm trying to create a scratch org. So the default, we have a definition file, an alias. I don't mention any dev hubs. It says a specified org is not a dev hub. I guess we'll have to just Google this and see. What's so there's a permissioning issue probably. The objects create a custom permission active scratch orgs, custom permission set. Are all these items do we do? I'm trying to see what are some things you can do here versus what you have to do through the command line. Personal information, connected accounts, authentication settings. Maybe these have nothing to do with each other. We haven't explored a lot of these things yet. Oh no, what apps? Grant account login access. This surely was UI was built a long time ago. Maybe the other one, the Lightning Experience, probably changes this so it looks a bit more current. Maybe. Um, set page is empty. So this is all the login count. Is that what it's showing there? Let's say if I did it one more time, go back here, I refresh. Cool. Create a custom permission set in the object settings. Where do I need to go to do all of that? Salesforce object settings, system permissions. Oh, this is a new world. Permits. Apps. Connect apps. Lightning Experience. Okay, this is more that we have to explore. The platform tools. Salesforce mobile app exchange. We saw that in one of the previous podcasts. I'm trying to think whether if this is what we saw or something else. Okay. Okay, there's plenty here that we need to explore. Mobile apps, Salesforce, branding, packaging, feature settings. Einstein, no idea what that is. User interface. Okay, this is the Salesforce admin. Oh wait, Lightning Components. Yes, does it mean if we create, the idea here was we were trying to create a Lightning component and it should probably show up remote access. Arc shape. Enable arc shape for scratch arcs. I don't know what that is. Allow a dev hub arc to create scratch arcs. And each 15 character dev hub arc ID on a separate line. Wait, hang on. 15 characters. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's the org ID. That's more than 15. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I didn't expect that to magically work either. Incorrect org ID. But this is the org ID here. It starts with 00D, but it's obviously not 15. 3, 6, 10, 14, and 15. There's 3 extra characters, like 18 characters. So we are trying to create a scratch arc. The specified arc. Let's try for another 5 minutes, otherwise I'm going to pick this up from in the next podcast. The specified arc is not a dev hub. Okay, let's see. We ran a bunch of commands here. This was just logging in. Logged in numerous times. Successfully authorized with org ID. And I thought we did something after that. System permissions. Let's see. What does he say here? In the objects, I create a custom permission set. Oh no, this is not the page, right? Okay. Oh, permission sets. Sales engagement user. Oh, so this is what that help was talking about. I created a custom permission set. Okay, let's go to custom permissions. A permission set. I have this. I have no idea what these are. It looks like there's some permissioning that you can custom define. In the object settings, I edit the active scratch args in object settings. I'm just looking at permission sets. These are all the defaults. Let's look at, I don't know. Okay, so this is very specific. So I guess if you're a Salesforce developer, I presume you understand this stuff. Cadence. Yeah, probably this is where all of this integration might work. Okay, all that I'm trying to do here is basically trying to create a base, a scratch arg. One would hope it'll be easier than this. Yeah, this is certainly not self-serve friendly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have to improve this. Looks like you're gonna have to read through pages and pages of documentation because the error is also very unfriendly here. I couldn't find any help. The specified arg list. Specified org dev hub is not a dev hub. So here we did login website default dev hub to an alias. But I believe that default org that we logged into was not a dev hub. Let's see. Let's search for Salesforce create dev hub. There you go. More endless documentation. Able to developer edition. Where am I supposed to log in? Is this here? That's clearly not there. Surely I'm looking in the wrong place. Okay. Interesting. Developer edition. Just to see. It's doing something. I thought I just signed in. What happened there? There was no error. There was no confirmation. There was none of that. Yeah, so that's not it. Maybe it did not. It says it's processing. Let me stop sharing and see if it actually sent an email. But it said it couldn't enroll me because the email is already in use. That's for the first email. What about the one after that? Let me share again. Yep. I don't know why it's stuck here. Trying to do something. It has to be one of the quietest podcasts that I've ever done. Okay. Okay. I guess 4 times a charm. It says check your email. So let me, apologies, let me close this. Let me stop share for a second and check my email. Yep, I got the email this time. Yep, I got the email this time. Let me actually share my screen again. I don't know why the title is error page, but it says stay tuned. We are setting things up. This is a different URL. So there's a bunch of, this is a large ecosystem, obviously, and we're just scratching the surface. Not to mention without reading hundreds of pages, tens of hundreds of pages of documentation. But I still, even if this looks a little haphazard, I promise you, at the end of that session, whatever you time box that session to be, you're going to come out with, you're going to have a ton of questions, sure, but you're going to come out with a fair bit of learning. So the terminologies, you get used to them, you know them more and more as you go. Like if you just recap, go back like 80 minutes of this session, you started not knowing a thing about Salesforce, about CLI, the Lightning components, none of that stuff. So I think we've made some progress, and would have made more progress if these tools were actually not this slow. They're painfully slow, the process. Okay. Oh, is it a status page? That status is probably a generic status. I'm pretty sure they're up and about. Let me just refresh the page. I'm going to close that door there. Okay, let's see if it actually does complete at some point. And if it does, at least then close. It's just specifying the dev flexes org as a default dev hub. This org. And we didn't miss any steps here. This is from the beginning. Scratch orgs aren't meant to be replications of sandboxes. Scratch orgs are perfect for new feature or customization. I guess they're ephemeral, so they just disappear after a bit of time. Enable login to the org you've chosen as your dev hub. The setup, enter dev hub in the quick box field. Where do I go to log in here? Asking a very fundamental question here. Okay, we install the CLI. Done with all of that stuff. Update CLI configuration and tips. Okay, I'm going to run another create command here. None of their example commands seem to. Okay, let's see. The production org. Was it Dev Hub? Was the name of the. Oh, we're getting somewhere. Generating new sandbox. Is this configuration correct? I'm like, sure. Requested resource doesn't exist. Okay, maybe I think it was 3, the third one. Did they send me a... Okay, I'm gonna have to stop share one more time. Let's figure out the password situation. Yeah, it just has the username. It actually, I believe it's 4 and not 3. Let's try that. It's 4. Nope, it doesn't let me log in. I guess forgot your password. Copy this. So forgot password. Okay, me try to see if they send me an email. They did. I'll reset the password. Oh, actually, maybe it send me an email to verify the account, and I guess I have to do that before I'm able to log in. Most likely. Okay, let me share my screen again. Sorry, I have to do this a bunch of times. Okay. So I go here. That's a different URL. I guess it's a different org. Um, enter Dev Hub. From the setup, enter in the quick find box. Oh, that's strange. It didn't find it, but now it seems to find. Now I'll enable the Dev Hub. Okay. Manage Scratch orgs. Log into the Dev Hub as system admin. Select active from the app launcher. Select active Scratch orgs. Active Scratch org. Okay, let's discover active Scratch org. Now let's list the orgs here. Probably have to log in. I'm gonna log into the new one that we created. So it looks like we have multiple orgs here. What is this org ID? Is this 15, 3, 5, 10? No, that's 18 as well. Okay. Let's get the list. So there is a dev hub here for this one. The type. Okay, now maybe when you run the same command now, when we logged in, let's see, was there any other command we ran in between? Org set dev hub blah blah. We'll run this command again. We log in. Okay. Oh wow, there you go. So we created this new, I had to create this through the user interface. Maybe there's a way to do it from the command line too. And then the type was empty earlier, and I had a feeling that could have been a problem. So now the type says Dev Hub, and we create the scratch arg. We had copied the sample definition file and is going through those steps, preparing the request, waiting for the arg. Your scratch arg is ready. So let's say if I refresh this, what does it? Does it tell me anything about that scratch arg? Scratch arg info. That's what that was. I was just there. Okay, looks like we've actually created the scratch arg. Now let's go back to where we were at. Close all these windows. Let's see, before I close that one, I'll close this. In case we've seen the templates enough. I want to close that. Leave that be. Okay, now I think, did we have a command for creating a project? Or was that create scratch arg? Okay, let me do the arg list one more time. Okay, this list is growing. So we have a Dev Hub, and now we have a scratch arg called Geo App Scratch. Okay, and it's active. I guess it expires in a week. So that's a scratch, and I believe that's ephemeral. That's why it's actually only good for a little bit. Now that we have that scratch arg, what do we do with the scratch arg? Okay, let me close these windows. Just gonna run that command quickly. See. Okay. So after we created a scratch, I'm trying to see which window we were on where we talked about the Geo App Scratch. So many windows open, it's hard to even tell. I guess Apex is maybe a Salesforce. I've heard that thing before, DSL. Yeah, on Salesforce servers. Okay, so you get used. I think the other day we did was a data weave. I trying to remember. Was it data weave? Yeah, we learned a DSL. So this, I guess, Apex is probably quick start. Writing Apex. I'm wondering if what we wrote the other day was actually. Okay, maybe not. So there is clearly a Salesforce-specific language that you have to use to create the Salesforce components. So what we've done so far, just to recap, was I want to do one more thing. We got far enough. We created a scratch arg on Salesforce. But let's see. We go back here. Go back to too many windows. Okay. Scratch args. want to see what I can do in the app launches. Sales Service Console. View all. Marketing, Sales Console, Lightning usage app. This is where we started looking at, but we haven't explored this yet. Looks like there's a bunch of sample data. Okay, we will look at that in another podcast, but let's say I want to go here. Salesforce Chatter, Digital Experiences, Apps. What was our Scratch arc called? Geo App Scratch. Don't expect to find that here. Apps out there. Trying to see where we. Okay, this is within the sale world of active Scratch args. Oh, there we go. We have our Scratch arg here. We then enter that Scratch arg. And I guess we can, this is probably our entry point, I guess, a project. I guess we can create a number of these things and try to explore this further. Scratch org. How does UI really? Hopefully, when they say Lightning Experience, it means this gets better. New org, the first one. Last login. I think we've gotten some idea. We've, again, how long is it? An hour and a half. At the start of this, we had no idea about any of these, the Salesforce platform, the products. We've been able to do a number of things. If I recap, we got the command line CLI installed. We're able to, sort of run into these issues, created a Scratch org. We didn't get it right the first time because it complained the Dev Hub was missing and the type wasn't there. And then we created that. And then we created the Scratch org, and then we were able to log into that domain. I had not updated the password. It didn't tell me that you have to reset it. It wasn't clear enough, at least, but I wasn't able to use it till it happened. So there's few, roadblocks along the way, but we've gotten further enough where we have this. I probably just want to save this as, I should say, add a folder, Salesforce podcast, so I don't forget these n number of URLs and tabs, essentially. And then we saw some commands where we were able to log in through the CLI, and then interact with it, because we created that Scratch org from the command line, and we also see the org list by running these commands, which means we are logged in into that sandbox. This, I think we've done quite a bit. This is a good time to pause. This would be 7 of N in the Salesforce series, and this one we're looking at the Salesforce CLI and a number of other things that we actually looked at the Salesforce platform itself, because the previous 6 podcasts were Anypoint platform oriented. This is the first time we are getting into the, I want to say, the, should I say, the more common, broader Salesforce dev environment, so to speak. It was quieter than usual, but hopefully you enjoyed just learning with me, exploring and understanding what all these terms were. Lightning components. We compared that to Material UI. We even created, a base simple component. Saw it, right? It spit out a few things, wrote some JavaScript code there. So I think we've actually, think about it, we've covered a fair bit of things in the last 90 minutes, or I just realized it's like 2 hours. Okay, cool. Till I see you next time. Remember to check out our APIs. Go to SaaS, SaaS.snowball.com. And if you're building anything like web apps, mobile apps, or microservices, try not to do any backend work unless you really have to, because we do all of that for you. So all that you have to do is just either sign up, get an API key, and get started within 10 minutes. Or if you would like to provision our services in your own infrastructure, you're welcome to do that as well, because we sell licenses. That's it. I'm just going to get dinner now. Thank you.